Hey everyone, DarrenDOG here. And just now in the little series on the subject of the magnetic feminine, I want to talk more. So we're adding on. You have to have seen the previous videos for this one to really make much sense. But in this one, I want to bring in this quality of understanding what it is to compass, which is very feminine, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So we have a tool that draws a circle. Remember, we're dealing with the circle shape of the feminine. And there's a tool that draws a circle, and that tool is called the compass. But the compass has another meaning as well, and that meaning is navigational, which is where we measure changes in the magnetic field. And if you remember, when we're talking about the magnetic feminine, then maybe a compass is the tool that you need. So I actually mean both meanings. They both apply. And it's our feminine, it's her feeling, it's how we are affected by the field, the magnetic field in places that affect how we feel about ourselves. Like, say, if we walk into places of authority, or places that don't feel safe, you know, and it's the field of these places that affect us and cause us to have that feeling. Our compass gives us a reading and tells us, trying to do something, and this can be what makes us draw that circle around ourselves, if you're feminine, and put yourself into the masculine as a circle shape. And that's fine, because you need that for getting about in the world. But as we've been talking in the subject of resistance and of how to attract a better quality of masculine into your life and a better quality of anything, one of the things that will really loosen up tight parts of self, judgmental parts of self, is understanding how to use this compass energy. It's really deeply related to being able to move into the omega energy as well. And to understand it, we have to look at a suffix, and the suffix is ION. So when we look at the suffix ION, for example, confusion is to be confused, or to confuse. Construction is to construct. Restoration is to restore. So compassion is to compass, because there aren't exceptions to that suffix rule of ION. So compassion, meaning to compass, is about, when do I draw the line? When do I close my state to follow my own ruler again, or when am I open to the lead of another? And this applies not just in an essential sexual sense, but also in an employment sense, or in a work sense, or even in a direction in life sense. It is our compass that leads us and guides us. Whether we can read it well or listen to it well is a different matter altogether, but we can learn to use it well. But it is our compassion that allows us to reduce our resistance to others by reducing our judgment and reducing our expectation. And the thing that allows our compassion to grow is by connecting with how difficult it really is to be a skillful human being in these times. By connecting to how many mistakes oneself has made, and maybe how much harm, indirect or direct, one may have caused. And to know it's difficult to be a skillful human. It's difficult to achieve well and to meet modern standards, when really most of us are a bit bumbling and imperfect, really. Through understanding that, through really being honest about how difficult it's been for yourself, is the doorway to allowing others to not be experts, and to give the space for, the journey to mastery from inexpertness. And even talking about it, it's like I can feel the realization itself still seeping further into me, as it still has to do its work on me. Just to let it sink in and dissolve that resistance that we may have to others because of our expectations, where they may have let us down or not met our standards. So there's a real role for compassion in all of this journey of understanding the feminine, of course, because compassion is fundamentally feminine quality because it's one of welcome and understanding. And it's not even that, because compassion does not even require understanding. Or in fact, I'm not actually sure if that's true, because I am asking you and seeking to invoke compassion in you via your understanding of what it is, what it means. And yeah, so maybe it is down to understanding. I'll take that back. But anyway, I just wanted to give and add in, just as we're building on these different ideas and these different spells and ways of looking at how we can flip our modes from non-accepting, the masculine, bounded off and cut off, to open and welcoming, accepting, and getting the balance right. Because yes, we can all have that in us, but is it firing correctly, or is it misfiring? Misfiring acceptance and misfiring non-acceptance. So compassion has a vital role to play in helping us move between those modes within, because it's not a thinking process. You can't think, now I want to flip from my masculine to my feminine, because it's not a mental process, it's a gender process. And it's almost like learning how to move a different limb. You know, the way you move feeling and the way you move your body is different, and they're different from the way that you think. And it's different from how sensuality works. And in a way, we're having to learn how to use the gender limbs, which is different to the mind. It's not like, yeah, now's the time to flip. You know, we can use the mind to trigger that, but it's not the mind itself. So when we're flipping gender, we kind of seek to use the mind to trigger the flip, but the flip itself has to have other impetus behind it to truly make it an opening, to truly make it a genuine thing and not a contrived mental thing. You know, so you're like, I'm listening, you know, I'm in the feminine, I'm listening, when really there's too much charge there for you to listen, that sort of thing, you know, faking it, not that, but just how one flips. So like, what a more realistic flip in that instance might be to pause, let the charge, release, and then pause even longer, and then open to receive. And in the way with compassion, it's a similar thing, where we can allow compassion to work like a salve, and let the charge of resistance or resentment that had built up perhaps with us in relation to either men or an individual, let it dissolve it, because it can. Compassion, it's a powerful force. It's really difficult to be a skillful human. Really difficult. It's really difficult to be a skillful man, a skillful woman. It's very easy to have high expectations in our modern world. And most people can put on a good show a good percentage of the time. But everybody's got work to do. And if we allow our compassion to give space to the others for their growth, it can really set us free for our growth as well. And for our openness to new things and new people without carrying bitterness and resentment with us. Compassion is the salve that can bring all that. So I'd like you able to add that to the kind of tool set that can help inform that shift that happens from the boundary keeping point maker to truly being open to receive in whatever form that looks like for you. And even there, I was contriving it a little at that last moment. That was a little bit faked. I'm hoping I implied it a little bit earlier as I got into the space of letting, compassion work itself on me a little bit. So yes, that's the next sort of layer in, I think, understanding the not tools but aspects and qualities within the feminine, and understanding the compass, what it is to compass, what it is to recognize how different fields will have an effect on your behavior and your reactivity, and to be compassionate to that and to the same effect on others. To let that build in you, so that your ability to be present and receiving. I mean, all the rewards of compassion. Don't need to resell compassion. It's an immensely rewarding quality that can bring richer connection for you, and again, open new doors. So anyway, please do, go and experiment with compassion on either past judgments and past resentments or current ones.